You guys got me curious about Tylenol and the fact that it causes autism. So I'm looking into the data right here on the White House. Right here, fact. Evidence suggests acetaminophen use in pregnant women, especially late in pregnancy, may cause long-term neurological effects in their children. Okay, let's go through the different sources. Here's from the National Library of Medicine. So they found a link to some use of Tylenol. These results warrant further investigation into adverse perinatal effects of prenatal acetaminophen exposure, so before the baby's born. And this relied on maternal self-reporting, and so that depends on how well or accurate they reported their Tylenol usage. Prenatal acetaminophen was not associated with small for gestational age, so small weight, preterm birth, or any pregnancy complications. So there's that. So yeah, that's just saying that there may be something with Tylenol and something with prenatal development, but there's no exact cause or things about it. And so we need some more research. We got the Harvard using acetaminophen during pregnancy may increase children's autism and ADHD risk. This is saying that there's something with high Tylenol usage and having a correlation to some ADHD or autism development after the baby's born. But that's high usage of Tylenol, which would be using it 4 weeks straight at a time at the highest dosage kind of thing. Yeah, the association is strongest when acetaminophen is taken for 4 weeks or longer. Further research is needed to confirm the association and determine causality, but based on existing evidence, I believe that caution about acetaminophen use during pregnancy, especially heavy or prolonged use, is warranted. Which, yeah, like, you shouldn't use Tylenol unless you have to use it, because it's the only safe medication for pregnant women to use if they have a high fever or something, which should be taken in moderation, which is what everyone is told. We got the Johns Hopkins University, where they took blood samples from the spinal cord of the children. It says, Wang points out that although the study found a consistent association between biomarkers of acetaminophen and its metabolics in cord blood and child risk of ADHD and autism spectrum disorder, it should not be interpreted that the Tylenol use causes these disorders. More studies are clearly needed to further clarify the concern. Until it is certain, parents and providers may want to consider the benefit and potential risk when making a decision on the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy or the peripartum period, which is why doctors urge to use it in moderations only when really needed. Look at the Mount Sinai. While the study does not show that acetaminophen directly causes neurodevelopment disorders, the research team's findings strengthen the evidence for a connection and raise concerns about current clinical practices. They call for cautious, time-limited use of acetaminophen during pregnancy under medical supervision. Pregnant women should not stop taking medication without consulting their doctors. Untreated pain or fever can also harm the baby. Our study highlights the importance of discussing the safest approach with healthcare providers and considering non-drug options whenever possible. So they're finding correlations with stuff, but it's usually with high dose applications of Tylenol. Acetaminophen is known to cross the placental barrier and may trigger oxidative stress, disrupt hormones, and cause epigenetic changes that interfere with fetal brain development. While the study does not show that acetaminophen directly causes neurodevelopment disorders, the research team findings strengthen the evidence for a connection and raises concerns about the current clinical practices. Okay, and now we have the National Library of Medicine. Frequent maternal use of acetaminophen in pregnancy is linked to ADHD in children, but concerns regarding uncontrolled confounding remain. Our findings corroborate those of prior reports suggesting that prenatal acetaminophen exposure may influence neurodevelopment. The lack of an association between acetaminophen use and the pre- and post-pregnancy exposure periods in ADHD provides assurance that uncontrolled time-invariant factors do not explain this association. They're saying if you take it once or twice or whatever when needed, it's not relevant to those conditions. But it does say when it's a high use, which is more than 4 weeks and constant, then yeah, they have seen some correlations between some things. But I think that's kind of abusing Tylenol when you do that. Because like the doctors say, use it in moderation and only when needed. We got the National Library of Medicine again, where they looked at cord plasma biomarkers and acetaminophen in it and the correlation between ADHD and ASD with 996 mother infants from 1998 to 2018. Out of the 996 participants, 257 children, so about 26% with ADHD, 66 or 6.6% with ASD, and 42, which is about 4.2% with ADHD and ASD, where acetaminophen levels were detectable in all the cord plasma samples. Cord biomarkers of fetal exposure to acetaminophen were associated with significantly increased risk of childhood ADHD and ASD in a dose-response fashion. Our findings support previous studies regarding the association between prenatal and perinatal acetaminophen exposure and childhood neurodevelopment risk and warrant additional investigations. So they're not sure if Tylenol really causes this or if it's something else with it, but further investigation needs to be done to really say that Tylenol causes this. But even in the other articles, it doesn't say Tylenol causes it, but a high dose of Tylenol of consistent usage does have an impact on some things, it looks like. So that's the data saying that the more research needs to be done and that you shouldn't be scared to use Tylenol if you really need to use it. But it looks like they're going to update the labels and stuff through the FDA.